Hi guys, I'm Shmee, hello to you and welcome back to the channel where today you join me to take a look at the brand new, just unveiled Lamborghini SC18 Alston. Now I think with this one, they might even have out-Lamborghini'd themselves. It is a crazy, crazy looking car. So it's a bespoke commission, a one-off, created for an individual customer by Lamborghini's Centro Stile design department, working with Squadra Corse, their racing division. We'll take a look at the car, talk about some of the inspirations for the design, and what this means for the future of unique one-off cars to come from Lamborghini. I don't think that anybody questions Lamborghini's reputation for creating the wildest supercars in existence, and in recent years they've been presenting us with some pretty incredible machines, all now topped off with the introduction of the new SC18 Alston. Just look at the design of this thing, the sheer insanity of it, the aggressiveness of the aerodynamics, the styling, all very much inspired by motorsport thanks to the tie-up with Squadra Corse. It's clearly apparent that it's based on the Lamborghini Aventador, a model that's had huge success, and in this case, the newly launched SVJ, the super veloce Yota with the 6.5-litre V12, now putting out 770 horsepower. The difference with this car, though, starts at the very beginning of its name, known as the SC18, standing for Squadra Corse 2018. So traditionally, Lamborghinis would be designed by their in-house Centro Stile department, led by Mitja Borkert, the head of design. For this, though, they've worked in partnership as well with the Squadra Corse team to bring in various aspects found in the Huracan GT3 Evo car, the Huracan Super Trofeo Evo car, and bring them into a unique one-off product that is road legal. It is a road-going car based on the Aventador SVJ. Now, Lamborghini have almost created a tradition of taking the rulebook and quite literally throwing it out the window. They build the cars that they want to build, and in doing so have graced us with some fantastic supercars along the way. And this really started in the noughties, where they took their flagship model at the time, the Lamborghini Murcielago, and introduced the Reventon, the fighter jet-inspired hypercar finished in satin grey, just 20 coupes followed by 15 roadsters of the model. But that was where all of this would really begin. Next up came a car that they presented at the Geneva Motor Show, the Lamborghini Aventador J. J for Yota, they're track cars just like SVJ we have in the newest model, but this was a Barchetta version of the Aventador that originally they had no intention to sell to a customer. Of course, they presented it in all of its glory, the phone started ringing, and eventually it found its way into the garage of a very, very lucky customer indeed. So hot on the heels of the Aventador J came the Veneno. 3 units, 1 additional car to be held by the factory in their museum, and then in addition to that, 9 roadsters of the Veneno. But one of the most striking cars of the time that I've been creating these YouTube videos. So next up, one of I think my favourites, the Sesto Elemento. Based on the Gallardo with the V10 as opposed to the V12 that you found in all of these other special cars, Sesto Elemento stands for 6th element carbon fibre. It was about lightweight, keeping the car beneath 1,000 kilos at just 999, but this one was track only, not possible to put the car on the road to register it with a number plate. Then most recently, to celebrate what would have been Ferruccio Lamborghini's 100th birthday, Lamborghini presented the Centenario, a car of which they built 20 coupes and 20 roadsters, and really, again, has been, I think, a phrase I've used a few times, the Lamborghiniest of Lamborghinis, although that might now, as I said, have been out-Lamborghini'd by this new car, the SC18 Alston. That brings us on to the details of this specific one-of-one car, but firstly, the last part of the name, Alston. So Lamborghini haven't given us an explanation as to the origins of the name. Perhaps, as per their usual style, they've named it after a famous fighting bull. Or perhaps they've decided to be slightly ironic and name it after the calm and peaceful English countryside town of the same name. Although something tells me that I suspect the latter is quite unlikely for their maddest of raging bulls to date. In any case, The SC18 Alston is based on the Aventador SVJ, the super veloce Yota, the most extreme and hardcore version of the Aventador that they've created to date. They're going to be building 900 units of the SVJ Coupe, plus an additional 63 edition coupe versions to celebrate the company being founded originally in 1963. The SVJ mixes some of the technology that they introduced with the Aventador S, for example the Ego configurable driving mode, the four-wheel steering, and a number of other technical aspects, along with the madness of the Aventador SV, the original super veloce, in terms of being very track focused. That means that the SC18 carries forward the SVJ's engine. It's the 6.5 litre naturally aspirated V12. It will have 770 PS, that's 759 brake horsepower, along with 720 newton meters of torque. Along with the four-wheel drive system, that means if you want to do a launch control, presumably the new car will match the SVJ's time from 0 to 100 km per hour, 62 miles per hour, of just 2.8 seconds. That is incredibly quick, and it will go on to a top speed in excess of 200 miles per hour, or well over 300 kilometers per hour. But interestingly, given all of the additional aerodynamic work, that actually creates more drag at high speed, so potentially the top speed might be just beneath that of the SVJ itself. So it has the same ISR 7-speed automated gearbox, refined from before, but still of course no dual clutch gearbox found in Lamborghini's flagship model. But as we look around it, let's take in some of the design elements. So you can clearly tell the shape is that of the Aventador, the mid-rear mounted V12, the very, very pointed front end, and in fact the headlights as well, taken from the Aventador, but surrounded by completely new bodywork, in this case painted in Grigio Daytona grey with the red accents that you can see all around. But at the very front, it points down towards a nose on a bonnet that's very like that of the Huracan GT3 Evo car. So the way that you have the intakes, the openings in the hood for the cooling, that is inspired, as per the name, from Squadra Corse, and you can also see the Squadra Corse windscreen banner up at the top, as you would find, for example, on a race car. You can see over towards the edges, the way it has those raised sections to guide airflow around the car, down the sides of the car, and presumably it's going to be quite a crazy thing to actually watch in a wind tunnel were you to go towards one. Around the rear, I think it's dominated by that wing. The wing that's actually attached to the side three-quarters, to the side fenders, all the way around towards the edges. Beneath that, you can see that tail light that runs either side of the Lamborghini badge, taken from the Lamborghini Centenario. So again, the Centenario being based on the Aventador platform. But the rear fenders, fins, intakes, various elements you can see around the car are all inspired from the Huracan Super Trofeo Evo. So Lamborghini raced the Huracan GT3 cars and the Huracan Super Trofeos in their one-make series, which basically allows that V10 to sound unbelievably mega in the Huracan. In this case, the design work has been taken over to the V12 sibling based on the Aventador. As you look down at the diffuser, well, I don't think I really need to say much. It looks absolutely crazy down there, with the exhaust tailpipes created uniquely for this car placed just above them. Around the side, you have 20-inch wheels at the front, 21-inch wheels at the back, lightweight forged wheel naturally, with a centre lock system on them as well. And just carrying on looking around, you've got the scoop up on the top, for airflow in towards the engine to keep it cool. The red accents finished all around the car with the 63 logo painted onto the side, but you can also see the openings on those front wheel arches, the louvres that you have that allow the reduced, or the swelling of the air to be reduced by getting it out of there as quickly as possible when you're driving the car at speed. And the way it smooths off towards a low rear end really allows airflow basically optimized over the top of the car, and even that rear wing can be adjusted through a number of different positions depending how angled you'd like to have it for the optimum performance as it's being driven. Given the track nature of this thing, it does come with a track telemetry performance system, so you can monitor your data, see how well you're doing, improve your lap times based on driving. One of my favourite views is when you look down on it from the top though. This is where you can see Alston written with that red pinstriping that runs down towards the rear. You have the central fin that points back towards the rear wing from the roof scoop, and flanked either side by a total of 12 vents for cooling of the engine. 12, of course, to symbolise the V12 powered nature of the car. Back on the Sesto Elemento, you actually had 10 because it was a V10. We've got some very angry and aggressive photos from Lamborghini really to actually show this, including from the very back. Just look at the scale of that rear wing, the width of it, the height of it, in fact as high as the actual car itself, maybe even the very highest point is the centre shark fin running down towards the back. But it's all open for cooling back there. The tyres basically open straight from the back. That means if you're following the driver of an SC18, keep your distance, because the sticky P0 tyres are going to be throwing up all sorts of stones from the ground back towards the chasing car. The P0, I guess, Corsas as per the SVJ model. So lower at the front, you can see more additional openings, and the way they're painted in red really just enhances and makes them stand out a little bit more all around it. But quite frankly, everything about this is absurdity to the very finest degree. And I think it marks an interesting move for Lamborghini and really for what happens next. Because, and excuse me for reading the quote here, the SC18 paves the way to further personalised development projects for motorsport customers under the Squadra Corse brand. So I think that's going to tell us that this is not going to be the last of these projects that comes from Squadra Corse working with Lamborghini, and I think that makes sense. You look at the likes of the Ferrari special projects. I talked to you earlier in the year about their SP38 Deborah. I do find it slightly ironic that the name of this car is SC18 Alston. It's almost exactly the same thing. But then you look at Aston Martin, the Vantage V600 creating 7 units. You look at McLaren, they created the X1, a completely one-off. It's the way to go. Rolls-Royce, of course, Rolls-Royce with the swept tail. Customers are there demanding these projects, coming with open checkbooks. I don't want to begin to imagine what this car must actually have cost, but presumably we're talking a minimum of a couple of million, 3, 4, 5 million euros, who knows, the sky is the limit. But then that comes with the opportunity to work directly with Micha and his team in the design studio with Squadra Corse to have input on the car and effectively build a completely bespoke car, which is something I just think must be the most incredible experience, and quite literally the ability to make the ultimate personalised toy in the form of a dream supercar. So congratulations to the owner. He has a fantastic car collection, and this will be joining some very, very special ranks in his garages, I'm sure, in the not too distant future. For now though, a bit of a surprise launch that we weren't expecting. I certainly never saw this coming, but the SC18 has been presented, and it's everything that a Lamborghini should be. Wild, dramatic, crazy, and I think an exciting start for some new things to come in the future from here. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this first look and some insight into the new car. Hopefully, maybe, fingers crossed, have an opportunity in the future to shoot some more with it and bring it to you in real life. That's it for now though. Thanks again for watching, guys. I'll see you again very soon. Cheers!